The drive belt can easily be removed by turning it off the basket pulley first. It is self-adjusting, so there is no routine maintenance necessary. The drive motor is located in the back of the machine at the bottom left corner. Please refer to our specifications for horsepower and amperage draw on motors, as they vary with the motor size. To remove the drive motor, the tension spring and bracket must be removed. The motor wire retaining clamp can be removed and reused by bending the locking tab to release it. The motor wires, including the green ground wire, must also be removed. There is a diagram showing where each motor wire plugs in, so there is no need to mark them. With the green ground wire and the motor harness wires disconnected, squeeze the plug and pull the wiring down through. The 3 Allen screws on the motor support shaft must be loosened. Then, remove the 9/16" retaining bolt from the front end of the motor support shaft and remove the shaft. Now the motor can be lifted out of the back of the machine. On larger washers, it is advisable to put a board under the motor and slide it out rather than trying to lift it. The rear channel can be moved forward by removing the 5 5/16" mounting screws. This allows easier access to the top tub back bolts. The new suds relief vent hose minimizes the effects of over-sudsing by customers. It is located on the back of the washer and can be removed by loosening the hose clamp and pulling on the hose. The tub fill hose can be removed the same way. The overflow hose is removed using Corbin pliers. The pressure switch hose can be removed by loosening the hose clamp. Now we'll remove the tub back and bearing assembly. This applies to all 18-pound, 25-pound, and 40-pound washers. We'll discuss the 55-pound washer teardown later. It's a good idea to mark the tub back and the tub back brace for ease in assembly later. The 12 tub back bolts and nuts are removed using a wrench to hold the bolts and a ratchet to loosen the nuts. 2 of the 12 bolts are longer and go through the thicker part of the brace where it connects to the frame. Next, remove the 2 bolts and nuts that mount the tub back to the frame. It will be necessary to break the adhesion of the silicone seal between the tub back and the outer tub. A screwdriver works well for this. Now we're ready to lift the tub back and bearing assembly out of the machine. As this is a heavy assembly, caution should be taken when lifting it. Note the silicone rubber seal where the tub back mates with the outer tub. The basket pulley is retained by a bolt, locking washer, and flat washer. To remove the pulley, a large punch or screwdriver must be inserted through a spoke in the pulley into the bearing housing support. This keeps the pulley from turning. Remove the retaining bolt and flat washer. Reinsert the retaining bolt into the shaft. Use a puller to remove the pulley from the shaft. There is a tolerance ring inside the pulley that grips the shaft. The shoulder inside the pulley holds the tolerance ring. This shoulder side of the pulley should face the back of the machine when installed correctly. Using a 3-armed puller, pull the bearing housing and tub back off the basket shaft. Pressed on the back of the inner basket is a seal mounting plate with 2 nitrile rubber water seals. These seals provide excellent water protection for the bearings. As you can see, they are easily removed and replaced. Always lubricate the faces of the seals with silicone grease before assembly. Next, remove the 6 bolts that mount the bearing housing to the tub back and set the tub back off the bearing housing. Note the bead of silicone that seals each bolt to the tub back. Also note the unique access hole in the back of the inner basket that allows these 6 bolts to be tightened without removing the entire assembly. Here are the 2 heavy-duty bearings that press into the bearing housing. Be sure that the bearing spacer and retaining ring are in place upon reassembly. Reassembly requires reversing the procedures previously shown. Here are a few areas that you will need to pay special attention to. Upon installation, the bearing housing must have the 2 weep holes located at 12 o'clock and at 6 o'clock. Always apply a new bead of silicone rubber where the 6 bolts go through to mount the bearing housing. These bolts should be torqued to a minimum of 70 and a maximum of 110 foot-pounds on T300s, 70 and 110 foot-pounds on T400s, and 120 and 150 foot-pounds on T600s. The bolts at the back of the bearing housing should be torqued to a minimum of 45 and a maximum of 80 foot-pounds on T300s, 45 and 80 foot-pounds on T400s, and 100 and 125 foot-pounds on T600s. A stack of flat washers and a 3-inch long bolt will be required to pull the basket shaft through the bearings. It is recommended that the washer be laid down on its front to install the basket and tub back assembly. Note the silicone rubber seal around the perimeter of the outer tub where it mates with the tub back. This area must be cleaned and have a new bead of silicone rubber applied before assembly. Lower the tub back and bearing assembly into the washer outer tub. Use 2 punches to align the tub back with the outer tub bracket and frame. The tub back ring to tub back mounting bolts should be torqued to a minimum of 45 and a maximum of 80 foot-pounds on T300s, 45 and 80 foot-pounds on the T400s, and 100 and 125 foot-pounds on the T600s.